In just 11 minutes, uncovered 10 shocking takeaways from Patrick Bet David's explosive talk with James O'Keefe on Epstein's Island secrets, FBI raids, whistleblower betrayals, Project Veritas collapse, and the most disturbing item found on Epstein's Island. Nothing is off limits. Takeaway 1. Epstein had thousands of abuse videos. James O'Keefe revealed during his conversation with Patrick Bet David that Attorney General Pam Bondi had privately stated that there were tens of thousands of videos involving children connected to Jeffrey Epstein. What makes this more shocking is that she said this not in a courtroom or press conference, but casually to a nanny in a restaurant. Bondi later repeated the same statement publicly on the White House lawn, confirming that these videos exist. This information had not been officially disclosed before, and her statements mark the first time a public official acknowledged this level of documentation of Epstein's crimes. James O'Keefe said he did not actively seek this footage, but was sent it by someone, and he felt obligated to make it public because no one else was doing so. He highlighted how shocking it was that the top levels of the government, including agencies like the FBI, are sitting on this footage without making it public or prosecuting everyone involved. O'Keefe questioned why an attorney general would speak to a nanny about this and not release that same information to the public. He also raised a valid concern that despite the scale of evidence, no major arrests or public disclosures have been made. For example, if the government really has videos showing grown men abusing children, then why is there complete silence when it comes to naming and arresting these people? Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 2. Epstein's Island footage came from insiders. In a surprising moment during the podcast, James O'Keefe shared that new video footage and images from inside Jeffrey Epstein's Island residence were handed to him by someone inside the United States government. This includes video from his library, bedroom, and even the mysterious temple-like structure on the island. O'Keefe confirmed the footage includes disturbing statues, eerie messages scribbled on chalkboards, and books like Satanic Verses, which raise even more questions about Epstein's lifestyle and possible beliefs. One chalkboard had phrases like power, deception, music, and mirror and face dark brain. These were left there after Epstein's arrest, indicating no attempt to erase or hide them. According to O'Keefe, the insider who gave him the footage no longer trusts the FBI and chose him instead. The significance of this is that whistleblowers feel safer giving sensitive information to a journalist rather than to federal law enforcement. This raises a major concern about how deep corruption and cover-ups might go within our institutions. For example, O'Keefe shared that the footage was dated just days after the raid on Epstein's Island and shows his handwriting on the walls, confirming it was his personal space. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 3, FBI raid was about signal messages. James O'Keefe explained in detail how the FBI raided his home and took his phone not because of anything criminal, but because they wanted access to his encrypted signal messages. He said the FBI agents used a deceptive tactic during the raid. They told him he could use his phone to call a lawyer. As soon as he unlocked the device, an agent snatched it out of his hand and changed the settings so the screen would never go to sleep. This allowed them full access to private communications. O'Keefe emphasized that many of his signal contacts were government insiders who were giving him sensitive information for his investigative work. This means the raid was effectively an effort to identify whistleblowers. He called it a constitutional raping and said it was the only known case where a newsroom in the U.S. was raided by the FBI. He added that the Department of Justice later redacted every single word of the probable cause that justified the raid. For example, even the footnotes were blacked out, leaving only one line unredacted, which hilariously stated that phones can send emails, as if that was worth raiding a journalist's home over. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 4. Project Veritas board members betrayed O'Keefe. James O'Keefe was removed from Project Veritas, the very organization he founded, in a power struggle led by board members he had trusted for years. He shared that during a 6.5-hour board meeting, a small group of employees gave strange and petty grievances against him, including claims that he ate a pregnant woman's sandwich or spent too much on black cars. These claims were used to justify firing him. O'Keefe explained that he had actually fired a few senior staff who were plotting to remove him, and that this internal conflict was likely fueled by envy, ego, and outside pressure. The board members, including Matthew Tyrman and George Skakel, had financial interests in pharmaceutical companies. In fact, Skokel admitted under oath that these companies could be sold to Pfizer. O'Keefe found out during the lawsuit that his board was co-investing in companies without his knowledge, which is a serious conflict of interest. For example, one of the board members claimed under oath that O'Keefe had misused $785,000, but when asked how he calculated that number, he joked about using a secret algorithm he couldn't disclose. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 5, Project Veritas collapsed without O'Keefe. After JamesOKeefe was forced out of Project Veritas, the organization quickly started falling apart. Donations dried up, trust was lost, and staff morale crashed. O'Keefe mentioned that before he left, Veritas was raising about $2 million a month. Once he was gone, donors asked for refunds and the nonprofit entered debt. He recalled one donor demanding their $1 million check back, only to be told that refunds were unlawful. O'Keefe said the organization went from having $10 million in cash and no debt to being $2 million in debt with nothing left. Despite board member Matthew Tierman claiming that the remaining 65 employees would keep output strong without him, the results showed otherwise. Followers on social media dropped by hundreds of thousands, and no major investigations followed. For example, after O'Keefe left, the public barely heard from Project Veritas again, showing that it wasn't just the team, but the leadership and vision that made it what it was. We're halfway through the video. Thanks for sticking with us. If you're enjoying it, hit the thumbs up and share it in your WhatsApp groups. If you'd like to support us, please tap the thanks button below. It helps us keep making great content. Drop a comment and don't forget to hit subscribe for more. Now let's continue with the video. Takeaway 6, institutional loyalty was always a problem. O'Keefe admitted that one of his biggest mistakes was allowing people with weak convictions to hold powerful positions on the board. He said that people he respected often declined to join the board because they feared liability from lawsuits and political backlash. This left him with people who were willing but not necessarily aligned with his mission. These people, he said, were ultimately driven by money and status rather than truth. He reflected that building an organization with integrity is difficult because even one or two corrupt people can destroy it from the inside. For example, one of the board members, Steve Almec, who had voted against O'Keefe's removal, committed suicide within a year, adding even more emotional weight to the betrayal that took place. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 7. Politics corrupts even the good ones. JamesOKeefe spoke about how politics can quickly corrupt even those who enter government with good intentions. He shared that many officials start out wanting to make a difference, but get surrounded by snakes who either mislead them or sabotage their efforts. He said there's a belief that putting the right person in charge of a broken system can fix it, but often that person is isolated and rendered ineffective. He pointed out that people told him to call Kash Patel or Pam Bondi for help, but these individuals are being pulled in so many directions and have their own pressures. For example, he said even FBI agents who raided his home looked uncomfortable, as if they didn't want to be there, but followed orders anyway. This shows how institutions push people to act against their conscience. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 8. No one is releasing the Epstein names. Patrick Bet-David pushed O'Keefe on why no public officials have released the names of people involved in Epstein's crimes, especially if there are thousands of videos. O'Keefe said that is a question Dan Bongino and Kash Patel need to answer. Despite being seen as patriots who had access to classified information, both men have stayed quiet. O'Keefe suggested that the system may be too corrupted and that even well-meaning people get blocked or intimidated. He even joked that maybe they are shown the Zapruder film of JFK being shot and are told you better do what we say. While that might sound like a movie plot, it illustrates the fear and manipulation that could be used to keep people silent. For example, even though O'Keefe was given Epstein Island footage by an insider, the government still hasn't made any of it public. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 9. Whistleblowers trust O'Keefe more than FBI. O'Keefe explained that people inside the government are choosing to give him evidence rather than go to the FBI or other authorities. This includes footage, internal communications, and even Microsoft Teams messages from pharmaceutical companies like Pfizer. These insiders believe he will protect their identity and actually release the truth, unlike official channels that might cover it up or bury it. He said trust is everything in investigative journalism, and once it is lost, you cannot recover it. For example, O'Keefe showed video of Jordan Tristan Walker, a Pfizer director, admitting they were considering mutating viruses to stay ahead of vaccine demand. That video went viral, but mainstream media refused to report on it, which confirmed to whistleblowers that they made the right choice in going to him. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 10, media, money, and power weaken the truth. Throughout the podcast, O'Keefe stressed that real journalism is often impossible when money and power get involved. He believes that the business model of profit-driven media makes it hard to tell the truth because there's always pressure to please donors, sponsors, or political allies. He said the only way to fix this is to build teams of people whose price is their life, meaning they can't be bought. In his own words, if your price is not your life, then you are for sale. This is why he launched O'Keefe Media Group and charges a small fee to watch his full-length documentaries as a way to stay independent. For example, he mentioned a time when someone wealthy asked him to do a story in exchange for money, and he refused, knowing it would compromise his integrity. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support this channel, hit the thanks button below. It really helps us keep going. If you enjoyed this summary, please leave a like and share it in your WhatsApp groups. To join discussion about this video, drop a comment below. And for more videos like this, hit the subscribe button below.